let's start trying hard. Like, let's start trying hard. We need to start trying harder. We need to try harder. Like, we need to do more. We need to take more action because she has done so much work and she is in such a place and she is so elegant and so graceful and so powerful and so strong in her being, in who she is, that she doesn't have to do much or say much to bring in the things that she wants because of who she already is. But what life do you want for yourself outside of your child? When he leaves, what life do you want to be left with? Hello and welcome to A Black Girl's Orbit. I am your host, Zarah. I will be your host from now until forever, I hope. This is episode 2. We actually did episode 1 and it's actually uploading in a couple of hours, and I don't know how to feel about it. We was talking about like perfectionism, and then when I went and I watched it, I was like, it could have been a bit more clearer. I feel like it's given a bit blurry, it's given a bit Android, but I'm gonna upload it. I'm gonna upload it because the fact of the matter is that I did it. I filmed it, I talked, and when it's not going to be perfect, so we have to just follow through. We have to follow through with our decisions, and so the decision was that I have to post it. So we're going to post it. Yeah. This week, I have been reflecting on all the things that my son changed in me when he came here, and the fact that I felt like, okay, it's now time to get your shit together. Like I was listening to me when I was editing, and I was talking about how when my son came, he said like, oh, if there's things that he didn't say this to me, he's 1, but I felt like he said, oh, there's things that you want to do, like there's dreams that you have. Where are they? Like, what are you doing? How are you getting there? And then I was watching one of the girls I like on YouTube talk, and she was saying that we feel like as women that we're just supposed to be like passive. Like they tend to say that like they make us feel like femininity is passive. That to be in our feminine energy, that we have to be passive in the sense that, and not passive in the sense of like allowing things to come as they may. That's not the same, but passive in the sense of degrading kind of passive, like just sit there, wait for things, allow things to happen to you. And that's not the type of passive that we're talking about. We're talking about the type of passive that allows things to come to her because she has done so much work and she is in such a place and she is so elegant and so graceful and so powerful and so strong in her being, in who she is, that she doesn't have to do much or say much to bring in the things that she wants because of who she already is. That's not the same. And that's femininity. The ability to just draw in things from just being who you are. Like, and that goes into everything, right? It goes for our goals, it goes for relationships, it goes for the type of person that we want, it goes for jobs, it goes for everything. And I feel like I was under the impression, I feel like I lied to myself. Let's be accountable. Let's take some accountability. I feel like I lied to myself and said, oh, okay, you want these things and these goals and these dreams. Like, all I have to do is just, sit here and write about it and talk about it and think about it and manifest it, and it will just come to me. No. And I did lie. Like, when I'm saying I lied to myself, because I was like, yeah, if I do just a little bit of work over here and I do just a little bit of work over there and I start the process, but I never actually get going, and what? How are you going to get it? How are you going to get there? How are you going to reach that goal? How are you actually going to become the type of person, the type of woman who draws those things without having to do much? You have to do a lot of work to get to that place where you are the type of person who doesn't do much, like, to bring things into her. Like, she's put a lot of work in. for herself, in her character, in who she is. She's put a lot of work in to understand who she is and what she wants and how she wants her life to look. And she's taking those actionable steps to get there. And so then when the opportunities come, she's already put in the hours. All she has to do is say yes or no. It's not the same, right? It's not the same as just sitting there and saying, oh, I'm wishing for this thing, or I'm wanting this thing, or I know this thing is going to come for me. I can know it as much as I want. I can know it as much as I want, but I actually have to be taking action and putting in work to get there. And I have to embody the type of person who is going to get that thing that I want. And that's what my son made me realize. That's what having my son made me realize. I sat down and I was like, are you actually going all in? Or are you just dipping your toe? Like, are you actually going all in on your dreams and your goals and the type of woman that you want to be? Like, are you doing it? Are you? Like, actually, are you? To get where you want to go and to be the type of woman that you want to be, and are you doing it? And I wasn't. I wasn't. I don't feel like I was doing as much as I possibly could. And today, I watched a TikTok, literally just before I started filming, I watched a TikTok. And a guy said that he heard a word, and the word was to be impatient with action, patient with results. That's what he said. That is what he said. And if we're talking about being impatient with action, that means to do as much as you possibly can, to take as much action as you possibly can to get where you want to go, and then being patient with the rest of the process, being patient with all the results that come afterwards, being patient with when the goals come to you, because that's in divine timing, right? It comes when it's supposed to. But if you are putting all the action in, at least you know that you can sit down and be like, you know what, I tried my hardest. I did everything that I possibly could to get where I wanted to be, or to get where I'm going, and now I have to just keep doing it. It's inevitable that I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna, because I'm doing everything I possibly can to get there. And I don't think I was doing that with my goals. I felt like I was very much trying to control everything, but not in the sense of taking action. I was trying to control everything to not seem like I'm doing too much. And that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Why do you want to seem like you're not doing too much to get to where you want to be? Oh, because you don't want to be perceived a certain way. You don't want to seem like you're trying too hard. Why? Who cares? Why do you care if you look like you're trying too hard? Or because I didn't want to be that type of black girl that's just like, it looks like she's trying too hard. Like what? Zarah? Like who? What? And I don't know where I learned this. I don't know where I learned that I didn't want to, like, we was talking in the last episode about perfectionism, right? And I knew that I wanted to show up as the best version of myself. And I'm guessing in my mind at some point, the best, most polished version of myself didn't try too hard. And it's like, yeah, okay, I get that. The best version of yourself doesn't try too hard. And if we're talking about like the type of woman who attracts things in without even, thinking about it, whatever, she doesn't try too hard. And I get that. I think I just got lost in the sauce. Like, you can only be that type of woman when you reach there. You can only be that type of black woman when you reach there. That type of black woman who seems like she doesn't have to do too much, puts in a lot of work to get there. And I was missing a step. I was missing a step. I actually have to put in the work, and I actually have to not care how other people perceive me in order to get to that type of person where people will perceive me as, oh, she doesn't try too hard. Does this make sense? I hope this makes sense. It makes sense in my brain. It might not necessarily make sense in how I'm explaining it. And like I said, I'm going to get better explaining what I'm thinking in my brain, but it just kind of comes out in like a brain dump type of situation. But the moral of the story, I think in a whole, I told myself that I didn't want to appear to be the black woman who's doing too much. She's trying too hard. She's like overdoing it. I didn't want to be that because society tends to make us feel like we're trying too hard, we're doing too much. She's doing too much. I don't know if that's a society thing or if we do that to ourselves as black women. I know I grew up hearing black girls talk about other black girls like that constantly, like, oh, she tries too hard, like she's doing too much, like why is she doing all of that? Come to find out, that girl who was trying too hard, who was doing too much, got to some far places. Like she tried and she succeeded. Like she tried and she succeeded. Actually, she was very serious about her goals and her dreams, and she's living quite a good life. Like she's doing quite well for herself. And why don't we want to be that girl? Why don't we want to be that type of black girl? Like why don't we want to be the black woman who is trying so hard to reach her goals and she succeeds them? She exceeds them. She goes past them. She goes beyond it. She is thriving in her trying too hard, and now she's at a place where she doesn't have to do much. And I don't understand why that we assume that the girls that don't have to do much haven't put any work in. They put a lot of work in. And that's why it's important to read the stories and the journeys of people and not just look at their end result. It is really, really, really important that we can sit here, especially as black women, and go, oh, she tried too hard, like she's doing too much, or she doesn't seem like she tries at all, right? Like both are bad for some reason. You don't want to appear that you're not doing enough. Like you don't want to appear that like she doesn't, like, how come she gets all this and she doesn't do nothing? You don't want to be that girl, and you also don't want to be the girl who's trying too hard. I don't know where do we win? But for either or, you have to look at the track record. Like you have to understand their story. I was listening to a TikTok about someone talking about a black creator who just bought a house, and I was watching them talk about it. I don't know if this is for fact, but they were saying that she makes like 75K a week from TikTok, right? And I was like, damn, that's insane. That's more than some people make in a year, but also well deserved. Like, good for her. Go for it. I'm inspired because you've put so much work in that now it seems like you just make silly little videos on TikTok and make that amount of money. It seems that way. I know for sure it definitely isn't that way, because if you've tried to be a content creator, it's not as easy as it looks, right? So she's put a lot of work in for a long period of time, or for however long she has put that work in, and now she's at a point where she is making that amount every week from TikTok. I don't see the problem. I don't. And I think that we oftentimes get caught in that in between, that we don't want to appear that we are trying too hard or focusing and going for our dreams to other people, because what if we don't succeed? But why do we even think about that? Can we just continue to think about the fact of what if we do? And when we do, because we are putting in so much work, we're not going to have to do as much, or we're going to reap the rewards of how much work we've put in. And you have to take action towards those goals. I had to take action towards the goals. I could not any longer, especially because I have a son now, I could not any longer sit there and be like, well, I'm just waiting for it to happen. I don't want to tell my son as he gets older, like, oh, I just sat down and I waited. Like, I waited for it to come to me. I didn't do any work. I didn't put in any work. I tried sometimes, you know, I had a podcast for 2 years. Then I stopped because some stuff happened and I just never picked it up. Or I wanted to do this thing, but I never really went for it. Or I wanted to do this thing, but I didn't have the right equipment, and I didn't and I didn't want to post every day on TikTok, and I didn't want to, you know, show other people that I was trying to do this podcast thing again. Like, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to appear like I was trying too hard to reach somewhere. I no longer care. I no longer care. I don't care if I am that black girl who is trying too hard. Period. Because yes, see how hard I'm trying. See it. I'm trying hard. I'm working hard. Actually, I'm putting in double the effort. I'm putting in triple the effort. I am working my ass off to get to where I want to be. And now it's even harder because I have a son. But it's like, if not now, when? If I get complacent, or not even complacent, if I get comfortable or I get consumed, because it's so easy to get consumed by motherhood. It is so easy to get complacent in motherhood. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, but you kind of just lose yourself. You love your child so much, and you love providing for them, and you love caring for them, and you love everything about them. You love their development and, everything that they're doing so much that you look at yourself and you're like, did I actually do anything for myself while my child was growing up? And I feel like that's why parents tend to have resentment for their children. They tend to have resentment for their children. And we will talk about the black mom resentment for their daughters in a different episode because that needs to be talked about. But for right now, I'll say that they have resentment for their children because they didn't prioritize themselves. And they felt like it was their child's fault, or that their child should somehow be grateful that they didn't try as hard to reach their goals. But the child didn't decide to be there. My son didn't decide to be here. So if I put my all into raising him, which I can still do while also prioritizing myself, but if I put my all into raising him and take care of myself at no point in raising him, and then he gets to a point where he wants to go and live his life because that's what he's supposed to do, and I go, well, I did all of this for you. No, ma'am. Actually, he didn't choose to be here. Actually, I decided to have him. I decided to put everything that I was doing on hold. I decided to get consumed by motherhood. And it happens quick. But at some point, you realize it's happening. And you either choose to continue doing it, or you decide, I'm not going to do it. I think my son is awake. Yes. I was interrupted by my child. But like I said, are you putting in as much effort and action and showing up as much as you possibly can, and you feel like you are at capacity? There is nothing else that you could do. There is no more that you could do. You have pivoted. You have tried in every different way. And if you have, then you know it's just not meant for you. And something else will come, or you will be shown a different path. But if there is something that you're meant for, there's something that you should be doing, or something that you even just want to try, and you don't, and you aren't, and you're letting things stop you from doing it. Like me, I was making every excuse not to do this podcast. I was making every excuse to not be the person who looks like she's trying too hard, to not put all my efforts into this dream, this goal, this thing that I know that I'm supposed to be doing. And it's not necessarily that I know I'm supposed to have a podcast, because I didn't even know podcasts existed when I was younger. It's not necessarily that, but I know that my experiences are supposed to be heard. I know that my story is supposed to be told. I know that I am supposed to help others in every way that I know how. And I know sharing my story is a part of that. I didn't know in what form, in what way, right? That came as the more I did it, and the more that I was obedient, and the more I listened. Now, we got stuck, and I was stagnant for a very long time because I wasn't listening anymore, and I wasn't going in the direction that I was supposed to. I was constantly getting signs. I was constantly getting told by multiple people, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is whatever. And I just wasn't doing it. And I just didn't want to seem like I was trying too hard and pushing too hard for my goals. And I didn't want to seem like that I was putting too much effort in, and that you know, I don't know. I don't know because it's stupid. It's silly, actually. It's valid. It's my experience and it's my story and it's my journey. And, those feelings are valid, but it is silly. Like, I had to tell myself, like, no, Zara, you're being silly. You're being silly. Why did it take you having your son to realize if you don't go all in on yourself right now, you're never going to be able to? Oh, okay. But for most people, it's the truth. It's for a lot of people, it's like rock bottom. For a lot of people, it's when they're really, really uncomfortable. That's when they're like, okay, I'm gonna go all in. I wasn't necessarily very uncomfortable. I just saw my son, and I saw a life that I could easily end up in that I didn't want. I don't want to just be like getting on with it. I didn't want to just be getting on with it. I didn't want to just be coping with motherhood. I didn't want to just be happy in motherhood. I am ecstatic and happy in motherhood. And I am coping very well. I'm not coping. I feel like I'm doing very good in motherhood. Like, I'm very happy. I'm elated with my son. I love him. I want everything that I could possibly give him. But in order for me to do that in the best way, in the way that I want to, because there are loads of other different avenues and different ways that I could do it. But for me to do it the way I want to, and for me to do it the way where I want him to be able to see a mum who has fulfilled all of her dreams or goals, and or at least was able to try and reach them. I want him to sit down with me and talk about all the different things that I tried and all the different things that I um experienced and all the different things that I realized while failing. Like, I want to talk about all of that with him. I don't want to just be like, oh, I had you and then, like, I put my all into you and that's it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It just isn't my dream. For some women, it is their dream. And therefore, you take that dream and you try your absolute hardest in it. And you succeed in it and you excel in it. And that's what you want. And therefore, you go and get that. But for me, it wasn't. It never was. And I knew that. But I knew I would have children and want to put my all into them. And I knew that I could get there and then not do the other thing that I also want to do, which is put my all into me. Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. I knew that I could have children, and because of the type of mum that I wanted to be, and because of how I wanted to show up in motherhood, and because of all the work that I had done, because listen, I had done a lot of work before my son came here on myself for the type of mum that I wanted to be, that I knew I would have him and then be putting all of this work in, and then at some point be like, okay, but where are you? Where are you for your dreams and your goals? You are gonna create the life that you want for your son regardless, in any way I can. I'm going to. But what life do you want for yourself outside of your child? When he leaves, what life do you want to be left with? That's what I had to sit down and deep. That's what he made me deep. Like, he made me realize that. And some people don't have to have children to realize that. You just have to think about it. Like, is what you're doing right now going to get you the life that you want? Or at least, do you feel like you are trying your hardest where you are right now, in what you're doing right now, in your actions right now, to get to the dream life that you want? I was not. I was not. I was not. I had to be honest with myself, and I was not. And I feel like that's where it was like, okay, cool, now let's push the gears. Let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing moving. Let's start looking like we're trying hard. Let's start trying hard. Like, let's start trying hard. We need to start trying harder. We need to try harder. Like, we need to do more. We need to take more action. We need to be on every single platform that we possibly know how to use. We need to film podcast episodes, even though our son might wake up from his nap, which he did, which I had to go and feed him, and now I'm back. But I had to do it. We are no longer making excuses. We are not. Things happened. Life happens. Don't get it twisted. Life happens. It's going to happen regardless. But you can still try. You can still put in the work as and when you can. And I could, and I wasn't. And now I have to. Now I have decided I have to. I have to look like I'm trying hard. I need to try hard, and I'm going to try hard. And I'm going to be impatient with my action and patient with the result. The results will come. And even in that, the results of what you're learning from your journey is so valuable. It's so valuable. Sometimes you don't need the instant gratification. I know we like it. Listen, I know we like it. I'm born 2001. I know we like it. We want the likes. We want all the followers. We want the validation from all the people. We want the comments. We want everyone to be like, oh my gosh, she did this thing. That's amazing. But sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't get it for a while. And you have to be happy with the work that you're putting in and how it's making you show up for yourself. Like, I've made one podcast episode. I don't know yet if people have watched it, because no one might watch it. No one might watch it. Like, it's not out yet. But no one might watch it. I might post it today and no one might see it. But you know what? I've already gotten better than the last episode. And I know that because I can hear me talking. I know I've already gotten better than the last episode. I know I'm already more comfortable on this sofa, even though it's my sofa. I know I'm already more comfortable with talking and getting my point across and saying exactly what I mean and describing it better and being more coherent. Because I edited that episode and I was like, ooh, girl. But we're going to post it. We're going to post it because we are showing up. We are showing up exactly how we are. As we are, we're showing up, right? That's what I said. That's what I'm doing. But it's not all perfect, and it may not, that's it. It may not reap rewards and the results that I think I want in the beginning or from the get-go or in however long period I think that I need to be able to see that. But within myself and the type of character that I know that I'm going to gain from doing the things and putting in that action, I already feel like, so this week, yeah, let me give you another example. This week I said, I know, and I'm being called to wake up before my son. I need to just get out of the bed before my son. I keep talking about, oh, I want my alone time, me. Get up then. Like, if that's what you want, Zara, get up before him. All you need is an hour. Get up before him and have that time then. Get up before him and make sure that when he wakes up, you're ready for the day, because at the moment you're just waking up when he wakes up, and then it's like, oh, well, we got to do this and that needs to get up before him, and have the house cleaned after he goes to bed, right? Clean the house so that when you wake up, your house is clean. When he wakes up, the house is clean. When he goes to bed, you clean. And I had been trying to do it, to implement it, to have that type of routine, to be that type of woman, to be that type of mum for a long time. Like I said, even just to be that type of woman, like I've been trying to have a routine and wake up early and, have that morning, that slow morning that I've always wanted. And, like when I would write like, oh, the best version of myself, like this is her morning routine, this is what she does, right? She wakes up early, she does some yoga, she does her morning gratitude pages, and she sits down and meditates, and she has her cup of tea, and like all these things that I said that I wanted from the best version of myself. I could have easily done it. And you don't realize how much time you have until you have a child. And now it's like, well, I need to do it because actually I need to do it. For my mental health, I need to do my gratitude pages in the morning to to have that time with spirit, to have that time where it's quiet, to have that time when my child is not yapping in my ear. Not that there's any problem with him yapping in my ear. I love it. But I do need that time without it so that I can center myself and so that I can, when he wakes up, be fully present and with him to start his day. Because I have already started mine. And I'd been saying, yeah, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I had started, like I did it a couple of times, didn't do it, did it a couple of times, didn't do it. And I was like, okay, cool. Regardless of what time my child goes to bed, because he's not going to go to bed after 12. We've passed that point, right? He's not a newborn anymore. He's going to go to bed before 12. You therefore need to be in bed before 12 so that you can wake up an hour before him. It's not hard. It's not hard. It isn't. It was for me. It was for me because I wasn't doing it, but it's not hard. And I did it. Yesterday I did it. This whole week actually. This whole week I have woken up before him. There was only one day I didn't, and it was because he was attached to me. He's a breastfed baby. He was attached. I couldn't really go anywhere. I was awake, but I couldn't get out of the bed. And by the time I did, he was like, "Well, hi," and I was like, oh, "Okay, guess not, guess not." But I'm doing it, and every day I do it. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, I'm exhausted. Every day I do it, I feel more like the type of woman that I want to be. I feel more like that mum who is got her stuff together. She wakes up before her child. She does yoga at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing yoga at 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up at 7:30. He wakes up at 8:30. You know, I have a child who likes to sleep, and I'm very grateful. But I'm doing it. I'm doing it, and I'm embodying her. And that version of her, she gets her stuff done. Like she gets what she needs to done. And as soon as I said, "Oh, I'm gonna be her," like I'm gonna be that version of myself that I want to be, and start putting effort in. I might not reach her every day. I may not reach her every day, but 4 out of 5 days of this week, I did. I did. I did it, and I'm so proud of myself. And the level of confidence that I have gained within myself exceeds whether or not people think I'm trying hard because I woke up an hour before my child. I don't care if you think I try hard because I wake up before my child. Because me in the morning when I've woken up before my child, happy. Happy. Get to wash my face, get to brush my teeth, get to do my yoga, get to write my journal pages. I'm happy. And I'm more happy and present with him because I did something for me. You know? So we went on a little mum tangent there, but it's the truth. Like the more that you put in action and to the best of your ability, you might not have all the steps, you might not have everything that you need, but put in as much action as you can to your capacity, at your capacity, right? You're doing more. You are. You just need to start showing up it with action. Don't just show up and sit there. Like we talked about showing up as you are. Yeah, show up as you are. Show up as you are. And be realistic with yourself and where you are at. But if that's not where you want to be, then you need to do some stuff to get to where you want to be, right? Show up as you are and be accountable for your actions. We're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. But we all do have dreams and aspirations and goals. And are we all trying to get there? Some people are. I was not. And this is me doing it. And I said in the last episode that I will be the testimony to just like showing up as I am. On here, I will show up as I am. But this is also me doing and showing up. This is also me showing up in the process of becoming the type of person and achieving the dreams and goals that I want and aspire to have. And I'm not perfect, and I never will be, but I am trying harder. I am. I am. I am. And I said I would get better at this, and I'm getting better at it. I am getting better at it because I'm trying harder. Like, I'm putting more work in. I had to watch myself back and be like, no, that's wrong. No, Zara, that's not okay. No, Zara, you could have, scripted it better. You could have written down exactly what you wanted to say more. You could have all these things that I could have, that I didn't, and that's okay. And that episode is that episode, and I learned a lot from it. And now we implement the new, and then I'll watch this one and I'll learn a lot from this one, and then I'll implement in the new one. But yeah, I think that is all I have to say. That is all I have to say. So, thank you. Hi, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching or listening if you're listening. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I have been your host. I really love saying that. I have been your host. Hopefully, I'll be your host from now on to forever. Thank you for entering a Black Girl's Orbit. I'll see you next week. Next week. Same time, same place. Next week.